The idea of extraterrestrials is quite fun to play around with. Just thinking that planet Earth cannot possibly be the only planet in the universe that is capable of sustaining life. There is conjecture that Mars was capable of hosting relatively simple life at one point. You go back billions of years when a potential rogue planetary body collided with planet Earth, turning Earth into a fiery, brimstone-ridden hellscape that took billions of years before it was ever capable of sustaining life. This is a theory. Aliens, too, extraterrestrials are a theory, and I don't think they exist. My belief is that all these extraterrestrial encounters or anomalies are just the mind playing tricks on you paired with extra dimensional manifestations. Something from the spirit world or potentially other dimensions entirely, and I'm referring to biblical dimensions like hell, heaven, Sheol, purgatory. I think all of these extraterrestrial anomalies are just extra dimensional manifestations, like these orbs of light commonly seen by the masses, one person, multiple people, the masses, caught on video. I believe some of them are faked, but I believe plenty of them are tangibly real. And I don't think they're ETs. I think they're extra dimensional anomalies. Technically, according to physics, it would be possible for some kind of a spacecraft to move that erratically and perfectly and be able to change angles at intense speeds. It's technically possible. The only problem is none of these extraterrestrial spacecrafts are actually spacecrafts at all. Their extra-dimensional anomalies are manifestations. That's all they are. They are not literally ETs or, Martians or any of this nonsense, right? You can get into other theories like the moon landing never happened or every photograph of Mars is bullshit. That's not what the point of this video is. The point of this video is to explain otherworldly life, in all reality, most likely doesn't exist, and all the evidence, the tangible evidence, the real evidence we have to support extraterrestrials are nothing more than extra-dimensional manifestations. These are not extraterrestrial, they are extra-dimensional. In fact, for every UFO sighting, you could logistically chalk it all down to something from the spirit realm manifesting itself on our plane of existence for no purpose than to incite fear or to cause confusion. If we're all distracted wondering what aliens are doing on Earth or what their agenda is, whether or not they want to eat us or enslave us, they don't want any of that. This is a thorough explanation as to why aliens don't exist. Biblically speaking, aliens do not exist. Extra-dimensional beings, on the other hand, are referenced in the Bible so often it's not even funny. Biblical aliens are not extraterrestrials, they are extra-dimensional. And that is all I have to say. Peace out, and fuck off. Space. The final frontier. Or is it? How many light years away is the nearest galaxy? Or a galaxy on potentially the other side of the universe? Is the universe infinite? Is the universe a globe? You can't really answer any of those questions, can you? Well, I can't either, and I'm not going to pretend I can. Those are all questions no one short of God can actually answer. Perhaps the angels can. I don't know. They say we know more about space than we do our own ocean. I think that is nonsense. But this video is more about the Fermi Paradox. As massive as the universe is, could intelligent life exist elsewhere? Think of this as a sequel to The Truth About Aliens, but it's an entirely different subject matter altogether, technically. See, suggestive of the Fermi Paradox is that life could exist elsewhere under the right conditions. That is the paradox. And there are three types of civilizations according to the Fermi Paradox. For example, a type 1 would have control over all the energy sources on Earth or on their homeworld. A type 3, now they'd have energy all over their galaxy. They would have total control over all the energy in their galaxy. Now these ETs, these extraterrestrials that could potentially exist, negating the fact I don't particularly believe in aliens. Yes, they could theoretically exist. How far away would they be? Who's to say? Immensely. Maybe there's a civilization elsewhere in our galaxy. Maybe in the Milky Way there are other solar systems with intelligent life. Maybe these intelligent extraterrestrials could in theory visit us. Maybe they're a type 3, a type 2, a type 1. Earth is a type zip zilch 0. We do not have full control over all of the energy on our planet, ergo we are a type 0 civilization. Now, could there be civilizations less advanced than Earth? Absolutely. But could they reach us, or would they wipe themselves out? We're on the track of wiping ourselves out, and we're a type 0. There is enough nuclear weapons on planet Earth to destroy our planet several times over. There's enough. And we're a type 0. You know how much energy it would take to destroy an entire planet? Exuberant amounts. Megatons of a nuclear explosion. Little boy, fat man. Both nuclear weapons detonated in Japan during the end of World War II. And our modern nuclear weapons are far more devastating than those two. And the ghosts of Hiroshima and Nagasaki still exist to this day. They are still going to make your Geiger counters go mad. People still live there, but you'd still pick up something on a Geiger counter. Enter Chernobyl. We're a type 0 civilization, yet we are more than capable of wiping ourselves out entirely. Now enter a type 3 civilization. The more advanced a civilization gets, in my opinion, the more likely it is to actually wipe itself out. I don't think reaching a type 3 civilization are the speculated, unofficial 4 other civilization types. I'm sticking to 3 because the original proposal only had 3. A type 1, 2, and a 3. 0 is not among them, but we are a type 0 civilization, yet we still pose a significant threat to us as a species via nuclear weapons alone. Fission. What is fusion? The sun. Any star uses fusion, right? Technically unlimited energy. Could you fathom an advanced species of ET harnessing the power of their star to produce theoretically infinite amounts of energy? I could, and it's theoretically possible. Can we? Absolutely not. Dyson sphere around the sun. We could theoretically have infinite energy. We could build a colony on Mars. We could stock it full of nuclear weapons, all kinds of things. I mean, we're at a position where we could branch out of our planet if we ever have. Hint, 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 wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Have we ever left Earth? Theoretically possible. But don't get ahead of ourselves. There's conjecture that we have not actually landed on another planetary body, including the moon. I'm not here to speak conspiracy theories. I am here to speak speculation, which is kind of a conspiracy theory if you really think about it. Wrong theory, though. The Fermi Paradox would suggest 3 civilization types. I think it is unlikely, as all creation, for a civilization to get past stage 1. I don't believe in stage 2 or type 3 civilizations could ever exist. because as a type 0, we could wipe ourselves out so easily it's not even funny. We don't have total control over all the energy on the planet, but what we do have is enough energy to wipe ourselves out. Now, going back to the Fermi Paradox, with as massive as the universe actually is, back to the original point, could other civilizations just as smart as us, if not smarter, actually exist? The answer is perhaps. My theory is no. However, I don't think you're fucking delulu if you believe in other civilizations at all. I think this whole spiel about other civilizations existing and reaching us, observing us, keeping Earth as essentially a zoo. We're all hybrids of an alien species that were essentially created by a species referred to as the Annunaki. We're all descendants of an alien species referred to as the Annunaki, who enslaved us and forced us to essentially mine our worlds for them. Could we ever branch out and seek resources on other planetary bodies? Perhaps. And who knows, maybe it'll happen one day, assuming the world doesn't end before then. Maybe we'll have a colony on the moon, on Mars. SpaceX, Elon Musk is always talking about branching out and building a colony on Mars, perhaps the moon even. But would that make us a Type 1 civilization? And the answer is no. If we were to build colonies on other worlds, we'd still be a Type 0. Because in order to deviate from being a Type 0, we would actually have to harness all of the power on our planet for our consumption. Ergo, my final opinion is this. I do not think we're ever going to stop being a Type 0 civilization. Thank you for watching. Fuck off. Ancient aliens. Can you think of a more notable alien race than the Annunaki from the homeworld Nibiru, who polluted their planet so much they needed to mine Earth for resources through the use of hybrid slaves, right? These Annunaki created humanity and a plethora of other human-esque entities, such as giants, or the Cyclops, or potentially even demigods. You know, everyone loves a good story. Everyone loves talk of ETs and aliens, enslavement, all this other stuff. Everyone loves it. The Annunaki created us through experimentation and copulation. You know, humanity is sometimes believed by people to be descendant of the Annunaki, be it through, again, genetic engineering and or simple crossbreeding between a similar species that is so similar enough they can procreate with humans. What if I told you something like that actually did happen? Enter the Watchers, angels that fell for 2 reasons. They, like the Annunaki, taught humanity a lot of lessons about war, cosmetics and beauty, minerals, all sorts of forbidden knowledge. Some egregious, some not. I mean, you go back in time, right? Humanity had a weird habit of designing very similar technologies despite being entirely disconnected. For example, swords. The Annunaki might have taught humanity about warfare, weapons. The problem is, these Annunaki were not a warlike species. Their drones were very unintelligent. They needed something smarter. But then when humanity arose, due to being created by the Annunaki, the Anunnaki quickly found that these humans were prone to violence. Realistically speaking, in the real world, ignoring this nonsense about Anunnaki, humanity started with Adam and Eve, who, in a previous video I said, even they were born into sin. These humans have been taught metallurgy and other different kinds of technologies by angels, be them fallen or still in heaven. The Watchers, for example, taught humanity a lot of forbidden technologies. Magic, metallurgy, weapon construction. I've already said that. Just thought I'd hammer the idea into your fucking head. Nah, Anunnaki aren't real though. But one species did arise due to either genetic engineering or crossbreeding between two very similar species. And this crossbreeding resulted in what is referred to as the Nephilim, created by the Watchers by copulating with human women. This is not a story about aliens, extraterrestrials. No, this is all about extra-dimensional beings that are so biologically similar to humans they can procreate with them. These Nephilim are always insatiably evil. Giants, Nephilim, they can too be equated to the same species, technically, although there's deviations. For example, historically speaking, remains of actual giants have probably been discovered. You know, the whole notion of giant men or giant species similar to humans, it's not unfathomable, such as the story of David and Goliath, for example. But Nephilim, sometimes being referred to giants, is technically a little iffy, because giants can be Nephilim, or giants can just be giants. And the Anunnaki, in every context, can be vaguely equated to these angels, these fallen angels, the Watchers. They foresaw humanity, they watched over humanity, taught us technologies, helped us grow as a species. But what happened after they started copulating with human women? They created the Nephilim. So you can draw a lot of parallels between angels and Anunnaki, because angels are real, yet the Anunnaki, simply put, are not. Now, human skulls being found with elongated heads, potentially those aren't humanoids, and also potentially they're just some kind of genetic mistake. Maybe, for example, birth defects, prolonged incest, things of that nature, bound to happen. Genetic mistakes and entirely misinterpreting what we're looking at have really given a lot of credence to this notion of the Anunnaki. But my final take on the subject matter, they don't exist, and they never enslaved humanity. Nibiru is not a real planet, and there's no dickhead African scientist named Yakub living in Agartha, creating white people for no other reason than to lord over everyone. I'm sorry, but all that is nonsense. Extra lore that's been added for basically no reason. A lot of things are known about Yakub. None of them are real. Agartha doesn't exist. And quite frankly, you really need to take that aluminum foil off your head. Pretty please. Just stop. Shape-shifting lizard people. Reptilians. Yes indeed. What the fuck is a reptilian? And what are they doing? Controlling the planet. Well, nothing actually, because they don't frickin' exist. Shut up about reptilians. You're all insane! No, really, you're insane. So essentially, there's this conspiracy theory, right? That the global elite everyone who has like immense amounts of power are actually shape-shifting lizard people or reptilians. And these reptilians are an alien race that secretly control the entire planet. Now, I'll level with you. It would be easy to say a lot of the global elite are shape-shifting reptilians and lizard people. And, newsflash, actual reptiles have more of a heart and a soul than some of these quote-unquote lizard people controlling the world, basically. We can't really go into the details of all that. I might be put on a watch list. I doubt I'm on one right now. I'm probably never going to be on one. Thank God for that. But let me explain a little more thoroughly. See, this theory suggests that an alien race came to Earth to secretly control and or enslave the human population. These entities are shapeshifters, commonly referred to as lizard people or reptilians. And they're slated to be in control of the whole world and as the global elite. I'll level with you. Some of the people in power are actually phenomenal human beings and not lizard people at all. Not everyone fucking controlling parts of the world at the current moment are such egregious people they need to be called lizard people. Now, I'm not gonna pretend like no one in the global elite is a piece of shit, right? Plenty of them are, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, a lot of the global elite really are monsters. A lot of them are on the Epstein list. Some of them didn't even do anything at Little St. James, really. Getting ahead of ourselves, these reptilian shapeshifters, though, they aren't real. I'm sorry, but anytime you dislike a person or hate a person so much, you'd want to dehumanize them to such a degree, you'd call them shape-shifting reptiles. Now, you can say it to be ironic, you really think someone's an absolute monster, and they're provable to be a monster. Hillary Clinton! Bill! Oh, I'm sorry. My lungs are black. But anyway, just because someone is evil, insidious, and in a position of power... Bill Gates! Sorry, man, my lungs are just on the fritz today. I can't even believe it. And then it ties back to another conspiracy theory, Agartha. There's a film which presents an idea of Agartha, the secret civilization underground, in which Adolf Hitler is still alive, Steve Jobs is still alive, and they're both shape-shifting reptilians. In Agartha, basically. Has to do with dinosaurs. If you know, type the name of this movie in the comments section. But anyway, these reptiles, they don't really exist, but I suppose it could be pretty easy to call an insidious monster a steaming pile of excrement that happens to be in a position of power a reptile. I can actually fathom that on every level, and keep doing it, but don't actually believe it. Don't.
I'm the CEO of Apple. Join me in Agartha, humans. My fellow men. This has been another episode of The Dark Pope Has Arrived. Thank you for watching.